I'm a philosopher, a fine art photographer and a therapist. I'm based in Brussels. Since 2009, I have run phototherapeutic projects with a diverse range of people, including those coping with serious social or mental instability. During my workshops, I follow several objectives. Photography will come first, of course. However, I give precedence to imagination and introspection in order to open a field of experimentation that produces different learning outcomes. It arose from a group of 14 women of the Women's House in Forest. Forest is an area in the center of Brussels downtown, a poor area of the city, with a mixed population. All the women come from Morocco and are aged between 18 and 60. All are practicing Muslims, are married, are mothers, and almost all wear the headscarf. Most of them don't work. They can go out on their own, but they fear or avoid the presence of men. They meet weekly in the Women's House to learn French, and this is where they're asked to learn photography. The WIELS, Center of Contemporary Art, which is in the same neighborhood, had already offered artistic workshops to them, whereas I had been approaching the WIELS for several months. I had some preconceived ideas of how their lives were, because I meet these women daily on the public transport. It was the first time I got a chance to work with them. I was also challenged by the flood of images of women as objects in the public space, the trivialization of pornographic consumption, and that contrasting with the multiplication of women wearing scarves in the city. So when the WIELS called me, I was very enthusiastic. I took this as an opportunity to work on the subject female identity. Questioning women's identity using photography is a challenge, isn't it? We, women, are very often reduced to an image. How can we avoid this? How can we combine more private image and a public image, especially with Muslim women? What kind of images of women can we produce nowadays that have impact or inner strength? I was really curious to see how these women would take part in the project, knowing that the photos of the project were going to be exhibited at the WIELS in the end. It was a structured process, using photos, drawings, objects, stories, and gestures of their lives. It was an invitation to play. They were curious and enthusiastic, although to them it seemed a little strange. They didn't quite understand the scope, but they responded very naturally, without fear. We rummaged through our handbags using their passport photos to introduce ourselves to each other. We looked at 100 of images of women produced by artists for inspiration. I guided them in photographic play about themselves using objects and memories of their lives. Meanwhile, in between the workshops, their assignment was to take pictures of their life as a woman. They felt confident, free, curious. They learned how to describe elements of their personality, to name emotions, to give them value and give them a place. This is a tricky question because we reached great depth in the workshop under the seal of implied confidentiality. The systematic way of shooting them with their objects brought up deep feelings. When stepping into memories, we really played together. By elaborating around an event, I could see them connecting with their inner self. They thoroughly enjoyed the exercise and said it was the best moment of the workshop. These moments were beautiful to see because of the special value they had to them. I could see how they related to their memories, and this was emphasized by making them repeat and repeat themselves. They performed their drawings very seriously, in the hope to have a symbolic picture of something of self-revealing importance. One day, we were sitting in a circle, we giggled, talking about our memories of strange male behavior in public places. One after the other, we stood up and told an anecdote. It was hilarious, even if you could read at the back of each other's eyes dismay and disgust. The activities they partake in at the women's house are their weekly escape. And I noticed that there's no room for their anger yet, but laughter is one of their remarkable resources. Through the workshops, they also discovered their own point of view by looking at their own pictures spread on the ground during editing sessions. This was beautiful. It generated a collective silence of astonishment. The feeling of pride was evident in the atmosphere. When leaving the workshop on that special day, goodbyes vibrated with moved smiles and bright eyes. Exploring emotion was vital to the process. For instance, one day, 5 women started crying looking at one of the photographs we had just created. This often happened when violence or abuse popped up out of an image or the comments surrounding it. Through the workshops, tongues began to loosen, and issues such as women's freedom were finally discussed. This revealed naive, stifled, and fragile perspectives close to judgment about Western women. Feelings ranged between attraction and repulsion, envy and jealousy. We discussed freedom. What does it actually mean? What does it actually imply? What are the pros and cons of autonomy and responsibility? Topics such as abuse, moral or physical harassment, fear and shame, and violence as a mechanism of control and manipulation were also discussed. My role was to provide them with means of empowerment at an artistic, social and human level. Very interesting issues were questioned that go far beyond the issue of headscarves. For instance, issues with private rights and pictures, freedom of expression, choice and action. Identity and treatment of women were addressed at the crossroads of 2 cultures. From the very beginning, the women were aware that the pictures produced at the workshop were going to be shown to the public. This is a point that they constantly kept in mind, and that I constantly reminded them of to make sure that the choice remained theirs. This was crucial. They had to decide what they wanted to show and how they would do it. This allowed them to play, create, experiment, and share their results. They put something personal down on the paper, performed it in front of a camera, and got photographed. They assessed then the result and showed it to the public. This was all their choice. Artists have a different way to look at the world, which is very valuable. As far as I am concerned, it fits my projects in a different way than if I was a pure documentary photographer or only a therapist. I care about underlying human characteristics in my work. They fascinate me. My projects are psychologically orientated, and the participants feel this and react to it. Some of them were transformed by the process, found a new job, started an artistic practice, started therapy, made new friends, or started taking care of themselves. On the other hand, workshops are exceptional playing fields to experiment with new ways of making symbolic portraits. Yes, Prettyasapicture is ongoing. I keep looking into new opportunities to repeat and develop it. It fulfills a need of self-expression in these women. Besides, some social workers are happy to learn new ways to welcome talking about deep emotional issues in a more or less containing way. For the time being, groups are mostly composed of Moroccan women, but I would like to mix women coming from different and contrasted social and cultural backgrounds to see what happens then. Who said that being a woman is an easy thing?